Well, let's just dig right into all the good stuff we have here for you guys. For the corn, we all know we're going to drop in yield on Friday's report. The only question is how much. Usually USDA does some minor revisions for the most part in this report. Out of the past, this goes back to 1990, so the past 20 years, we've had a total of 6 revisions to lower numbers from September to October. And except for if we exclude 93, 95, those serious years, you've got a moderate decline of 160.8. So the average of the 4 moderate years. You throw them all together, 159.7 as far as an average there. Just want to point out that neat little stat there. As far as this chart we had, same thing as last week. We mentioned that typically we've been running maybe about a 0.8 bushel higher than USDA as far as our yield model that goes off the crop condition reports. And as of last week's report, 159.7 would be our number. We're actually going to use that for the report as well. So we're going to use that 159.7 for the report coming up on Friday. Now, where is that compared to some other guys? We've got 2 other groups out here which have put out numbers for this report. And as you can tell, we have one guy is a little higher, the other one actually a little lower for this report. One thing I want to point out here at the very top up here is USDA's change on old crop. They added 322 million bushels to the old crop number they gave us back last month, 322. And you look at all these guys down here, ourselves and the other 2, nobody has anything that large. So the bottom line is no matter what we do, we're going to see a net increase in new crop ending stocks on Friday's report. And let's not, without getting into a whole bunch of numbers and kind of confusing everybody, let's just point out the idea here of these bottom numbers here, ending stocks. USDA last month for new crop had 1.1. Once we add in some more for old crop, we're actually going to put our number just about 1.3 million or billion bushels for ending stocks. Now, what does this mean to us? What does this mean for price? Kind of interesting here. We've had a very good history of some numbers right around this area in the past few months. Let's go back to July. We had almost a 1.4 billion bushel number. In August, that was revised to a 1.3, and you can see prices went higher. So stocks declined, prices went higher. Kind of common sense here. And, of course, last month we had a 1.1, very tight number. And especially we have this big rally here going on after that because nobody even believed that's where it was going to stop. Everybody's believing that with the drop in yields down to 160, which we all felt was coming, that we'd see another drop even below 1 billion. So let's kind of bring this down to levels we can all understand and what's this mean to price. We've got these other years here. We expect to see a 1.3 on Friday's report. And that's just right around this area where we traded the week after the report. We traded from 415.5 to 437.5. So the net message here, the last time we traded 1.3 billion bushels, we had a price of 415.5 to 437.5 the week after the report. Kind of keep that number in mind. As I mentioned, as far as an email I sent out to everybody here this morning about the 50% retracement of this rally from June low up to this high we had here at the end of September here, using the December contract. If you look at just the December contract, 436 is that retracement mark. So it's kind of interesting to see that 50% retracement, 436, is right around this area that came out the last time we traded 1.3 billion bushels. Kind of neat how that kind of works out. So actually I don't have any problem at all with saying that's a good point to work on for a good downside target. 436 on that 50% retracement, and I'd even go 430 pretty easily, just saying here's where we traded last time. So we're going to use a 430 downside target right now for December corn. For soybeans, let's cover this just a little briefly here. For numbers, we're going to say a slight increase in yield up to 44.8 from USDA last month. As far as the balance sheet, we do have a little bigger yield, and we have a couple different changes on the demand side. But bottom line, yields or earning stocks still big, 350 up to 366 is what we expect. So an increase in ending stocks coming on Friday for soybeans. Now the big question, does this mean anything at all to price? So let's go back 2 months ago, July, we were at 360. We had a price of about 950. Let's see here, the exact same ending stock, and wow, we were trading a buck higher almost. Okay, and we did drop at 10 on the September report, and we picked up about 10 cents. So If we go to 366, is there anything we can pull from this chart? And the answer is absolutely not. Soybeans have not been trading fundamentals at all. So they've been supported by corn, you could certainly argue. Maybe if you argue that corn will take 50% of its level, maybe we can see something like down to a $10 level or something like that for the node contract. So it's a lot tougher right now to make some solid numbers for us on beans. As far as the week goes, just covering that briefly, we will see the report that USDA gave us on Thursday. There was the grains report, the small grains, and also the grain stocks. The small grains did lower this number for wheat production, a lower wheat production. That's in store, then why do we have an increase in this whole issue right here, increase in ending stocks? So they're dropping production, but we have an increase in ending stocks. One of the key problems we have is exports. Exports each week have been fantastic, except for the past 3 weeks. We've seen your buyers are now going back to a normal pattern for wheat. USDA has plugged in a fantastic pattern. But bottom line, we have a little problem with these numbers as far as the exports. So we see basically 915, so a slight increase for wheat. So bottom line for the report, I don't see anything at all exciting, as we all know about this report. We do have coming up the EPA decision that could come out anytime between now and the next 2 or 3 weeks. Some people are suggesting that we may hear a partial decision, maybe on those newer cars, 2007 and to current. Maybe we'll come out with that estimate now, and maybe a later one at the end of November for the remainder of cars. As far as smaller issues, this afternoon we've got a harvest report from USDA. There's no problem with harvest. We've got normal to above normal temps after this next day or two, and we got normal to below normal preset. Bottom line fundamentals right now turned bearish suddenly. We've got some problems to work with